Welcome back, Guggeners family. Brighton and Everton make checks on Arsenal-linked ace after transfer meetings this week. A flurry of quiet activity in London this week has thrust one of Croatia's most intriguing young playmakers into the peripheral vision of several Premier League clubs. Brighton and Hove Albion and Everton, two clubs with very different short-term aims but similar appetites for creative talent, have reportedly carried out preliminary checks on Toni Fruk, the 24-year-old attacking midfielder currently starring for HNK Rijeka. The checks follow a series of meetings between the player's representatives and interested parties in the English capital, and they come amid a swirl of varying reports linking the player with a range of clubs, including assertions, since played down, that Arsenal have also been involved. This long-form piece examines who Toni Fruk is, why he is drawing interest, what Brighton and Everton might realistically want from a player like him, how the reported meetings in London fit into the wider transfer picture, and how credible the links with Arsenal and other big clubs actually are. Where possible, we pull together the available reporting, the statistical case, tactical fit, and the transfer mechanics that will determine whether the exploratory checks turn into formal bids in January. Who is Toni Fruk? A quick profile. Toni Fruk is a Croatian attacking midfielder who has impressed in the domestic Croatian league for HNK Rijeka. At 24, he stands at an age where a step into a stronger European league feels natural, old enough to have established himself at senior level, young enough to be treated as a developmental prospect with resale value. This season, Fruk has been particularly eye-catching. He has registered double-digit goal contributions and been one of Rijeka's most consistent match-influencing players. Reports list him with 11 goals and 2 assists in 27 appearances for Rijeka this season, including a standout hat-trick against Hajduk Split, one of Croatia's biggest clubs, and he has also earned multiple senior caps for Croatia, scoring in a European qualifying match that contributed to World Cup qualification. That statistical set makes a strong initial case, an attacking midfielder who can both create and score, and who has the temperament to deliver in big domestic matches, ticks lots of boxes for clubs looking to add attacking depth without splashing truly enormous transfer fees. The fact that Fruk has also made recent appearances for the Croatian national team adds polish to his CV. International recognition amplifies a player's marketability and signals that clubs elsewhere are not alone in valuing him. The reports this week: what actually happened? The early December ripple began with the player's representative, Andy Barra, being reported in London for meetings. Multiple outlets and social reports flagged that Barra, who represents a number of high-profile names in European football, held talks with interested parties in the English capital on Monday and Tuesday this week. Subsequent local reporting in the UK suggested Brighton and Everton had carried out routine exploratory checks on Fruk, though they and other interested parties were being careful to stress that there was no guarantee anything would progress beyond the monitoring stage. The language used in these reports is worth paying attention to. Terms such as routine checks, exploratory checks, or initial interest generally indicate scouting and background due diligence rather than concrete negotiations. Clubs will frequently run checks, from performance data and video analysis through to lifestyle and contract investigations, before deciding whether to open formal talks. That both Brighton and Everton are named as having done such checks suggests Fruk has emerged on scouts' radars, but not necessarily that either club is ready to launch a January approach. Why Brighton might be interested? Brighton and Hove Albion have evolved from a quietly efficient English mid-table club into a more ambitious force over the last several seasons, driven by a well-resourced recruitment operation and a sporting model that emphasizes technical players with upside. Brighton's push into Europe, both as a statement of intent and a financial opportunity, has shifted their recruitment priorities. They want players who can both slot into the first-team tactical framework and contribute across a congested schedule. This season, Brighton have suffered several injuries in attacking positions. Reports noted Kawarumi Toma, Brajan Gruda, and Tommy Watson had spells on the sidelines, while a longer-term blow came with the news that Stefanos Djima suffered an ACL injury, ruling him out for the season. Faced with fixture congestion and the challenges of maintaining form in the Premier League while competing in Cup or European action, Brighton could see value in bringing in another creative, goal-scoring number 10, especially one who is still developing and therefore affordable relative to elite names. Fruk fits that profile numerically, goals and assists, and stylistically, an attack-minded midfielder who likes to operate in tight central spaces and arrive late into the box. Brighton's recruitment model favors players who are technically strong, adaptable, and comfortable in possession, attributes that reports and scouting notes on Fruk emphasize. If Brighton view him as a potential rotation piece who can contribute immediately and improve over the next 18 to 36 months, they may feel a January swoop, or structured deal with a loan component makes sense. For Brighton, there is also the commercial and sporting upside of picking up a rising European talent before a major prestige club does. Everton's calculus: short-term fix or longer project. Everton operate with different immediate objectives. The Toffees are in a position where incremental upgrades to the squad can deliver material improvement in results and help stabilize the Premier League status and long-term project.
Everton's recruitment in recent windows has focused on players who can make an immediate impact in the senior squad while still providing value. An attacking midfielder in Fruk's mold, one who can score and create, could be attractive to Everton if they decisively identify him as someone who would improve their team's final third output. Everton's style under their current manager has had phases in which late arrivals from midfield and creative free roles have been required. A player like Fruk could represent a relatively low-risk bet on talent but has already proven itself in a top domestic European competition. However, Everton's finances and wage structure could be limiting factors. Everton tend to be more cautious in January, and the club often explores loans or stagger payments for players who are not yet established in elite leagues. If Brighton appear prepared to offer a clearer route regarding playing time, or if a larger club makes a move, Everton could step back into a more observational role rather than push for an immediate transaction. The routine checks reported on both sides point to this kind of early-stage assessment rather than an imminent tug-of-war. Arsenal links, hype or substance. With rumors attaching Fruk to several clubs, it's no surprise that the biggest name in recent reporting has been Arsenal. Some Croatian and aggregator outlets suggested Arsenal scouts had been watching Fruk and that the club had been in touch. But sources close to the player, and reporting that the Brighton base referenced, have insisted that direct dialogue with Arsenal had not occurred, and that the agent's London trip had been a business trip that didn't necessarily involve Arsenal in formal talks. Fruk's agent himself has been named as the intermediary handling the London meetings, and he represents other high-profile players, which explains why the player was moving in these circles. There are a few ways to read the Arsenal angle. 1. Scouting interest versus transfer pursuit. Elite clubs maintain broad scouting networks. Arsenal could be watching Fruk as part of routine scouting without being prepared to make a concrete January offer. Being on a shortlist does not equal active negotiations. 2. Media amplification. When a young foreign player starts to impress, a chorus of smaller outlets, social feeds, and local reports frequently tag him to big clubs, partly because the headline is clickable. That dynamic can create the impression of fast-moving interest even when clubs are merely monitoring. 3. Agent signaling. Agents sometimes use public meetings, lunches, and trips to signal to the market that a player is available, or that demand exists. That can prompt bigger clubs to take a look, but it is also a negotiation tactic that creates leverage for the player. For Arsenal specifically, the club's transfer appetite in any window will be dictated by squad need, their hierarchy's evaluation of fit, and the cost availability of targets. While Fruk's profile may match some of the creative, dynamic, wide/central attacking profiles Arsenal value, current reports explicitly noted that sources close to Arsenal denied talks had taken place. That should temper expectations that Arsenal are about to make a concrete approach. Statistical and tactical case for Fruk. Numbers can illuminate the why behind the interest. While raw goals and assists are only part of the story for an attacking midfielder, Fruk's conversion into goal contributions at Rijeka this season is significant. A player with 11 goals and 2 assists in 27 matches demonstrates a consistent end product, and the hat trick against Hajduk Split in a high-pressure setting suggests he can perform against quality domestic opponents.